I'll do the announcements. Right. Are they written outside? Anything besides Rick Rick? Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Just a couple announcements before we start. You can hear in my voice I have a little bit of a nasally thing going on, so I won't be doing the Stones tonight, but it doesn't mean we won't be remembering everybody whose yahrzeit is this weekend. So with that, Erev Cantor Sarah will lead us in song. Go ahead.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are going to start on page 101. Shir HaNeshama, the colorful one. We're going backwards tonight. Just kidding. Page 101. 101. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora V'Simcha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora V'Simcha. Ora V'Simcha, Ora V'Simcha. Ora V'Simcha, Ora V'Simcha. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora V'Simcha. Yom Zel Yisrael, Ora V'Simcha. Ora V'Simcha, Ora V'Simcha. Ora V'Simcha, Ora V'Simcha. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha.
We do have some opening announcements, which were just handed to me. This just off the press. Shabbat Shalom, they're thanking us. They're appreciating us.
There she is. There's our board member.
Oh, it's
hey,
time.
Lori, you want to give the announcements?
Great. Sort of like living on Tulsa time. Living on, yeah. Perfect entrance.
Well, welcome everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Hi, Jules. Rabbi Danny, thank you for doing our services. And of course, Sarah, thank you. Where's our piano guy? He's not here tonight. Everybody's gone.
Chris has the night off.
Okay.
So Sarah's leading us with song.
Well, thank our tech team and our facilities people. We have a couple announcements for you. On Sunday, there's a 10 a.m. U of A Judaic study professor that's coming. And as long as I have you guys here, I'm going to ask you a question. What's a curson? C-U-R-S-O-N, professor. Okay, well, Professor David Grasbord, a curson, I looked it up in Webster's, I couldn't find anything. Professor of Judaic Studies and Director of the Arizona Center for Judaic Studies, will be presenting on Zionism and Israel. You have to register for the event, so go online and do that. The board meeting is coming up on Tuesday. You are all welcome via Zoom. If you have any questions, please submit those before. It's going to be Tuesday, January 23rd at 5:30. And they're going to be talking about strategic planning, so it might be something that everyone would want to jump on for and listen to what's happening. On Wednesday, January 24th, I'm going to screw it up, Tush Bishvat Seder. I've been practicing it, it's not coming out right. They're joining the Weintraub Israeli Center to bring a special guest, Alon Tal, to speak to us at the Seder. He's a former Knesset member and the Israeli environment activist. He'll give us insight into the situation in Israel, both the broader story and how The ecological issues impact conflict in the Middle East. Sounds really interesting, but you do need to register for that also. We have everything from concerts to pancake events coming up, so please check the website. Make sure that you sign up for things that need to be signed up for. Some of them are limited access, so as soon as you see something that you want to do, make sure that you sign up for that. And on behalf of clergy, myself, and all of you, Shabbat Shalom.
So I have one more announcement I think is very important, and I'm just going to preface it by saying, when I started doing this 25 years ago, I had just started playing guitar, and I wasn't very good, and I took the one guitar lesson I ever took in my life from Steve Dropkin, who actually composed many of the settings that we do here at Call of Me. And I was sort of apologetic, and I'm going, he goes, look, dude, if you have a guitar in your hand, you're a rock star. So that gave me enough confidence to go forward. But we're going to have a true rock star with us next week, okay, next Sunday. If you don't know him, you'll love him. Rick Recht is coming, and he's one of the most influential and celebrated artists and leaders of our time, particularly with Jewish liturgical music. His innovations in Jewish music and media and leadership and training have had a profound influence not only on the fabric of Jewish life, but on people like me and Sarah and other people who actually are up here and listening to the sounds that come from people like him. So seriously, this is like, Debbie Friedman is like there. Rick Recht is Noah Aronson, Rick Recht. I would bat them in that order. So with that, we have our candle lighting, and we have Ellen Saladas doing it.
Yes, we'd like to invite Ellen up to light our candles. So if you can.
I'm the watchful rabbi. I was.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechadlik ner shel Shabbat. Good Shabbos.
Thank you, Ellen. We are going to continue on page 6. Page 6 in Shir HaNeshama, Sing to Adonai a New Song. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru
We continue on page 7. We read responsively. Adonai has made known the power of salvation and revealed righteousness to all nations.
For God has come to inspire us to be righteous, to bring uprightness to all people.
Mighty One who loves justice, it was you who established fairness, you who brought righteous judgment in Jacob. God is holy.
Adonai grant strength to our people. May Adonai bestow well-being upon us.
On the bottom of the page, we turn our attention toward a joyous ceremony of happy lovers. Our Sabbath bride enters our lives at this moment, and we are overwhelmed by her beauty, her gentleness, and her love for us. The Sabbath bride is resting in every heart. We smile softly as she enters. We breathe easy as we welcome her. We close our eyes and feel her gentle kiss upon our brow.
Lecha dodi likrat kala hene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala hene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala hene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala hene Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki hi mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat echila.
Everybody.
Lecha dodi likrat kala hene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala hene Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, Hivore, Kumi Ori, Uri, Shida Beri, Kevod Adonai, Alayich Nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala hene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala hene Shabbat nekabela.
Please rise if you're able and welcome the Sabbath bride.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha u'v'tzola, toch harmonei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala hene Shabbat nekabela.
continue on page 11 at the top. Read responsively. What was but moments ago the substance of our life has now become memory. What we did must now be woven into what we are. For on this day we shall not do, but be.
We are to walk the path of our humanity, no longer ride unseeing through a world we do not touch and only vaguely sense.
This is what Shabbat must be for us, not to tear the world apart, not to wrestle with time, but to let warmth and care and light come forth from deep within ourselves. Please join us for the Hatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agala, v'agala, uv'izman kariv. Veimeru, Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba mevorach, leolam ulam me'amaya.
Yitvarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yithalal, Shemei dekodesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma ve'imeru Amen.
Please rise if you're able for the Baruch Hu.
Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach, Hamevorach leolam va'ed.
You may be seated. We read on page 12. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. On the bottom of page 13 together, everlasting love you offered our people Israel by teaching us Torah and commandments, judgments and laws. Therefore, eternal our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your teachings. We will rejoice in your Torah and your mitzvot forever, for they are our lives and the length of our days, and we will meditate on them day and night. May we always be aware of your love for us. We praise you, Adonai, who shows love to your people Israel and all of the world.
Please rise. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod Malchuto. Le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated unless it's your custom to read the Via Hafta while standing.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Continuing in the middle of the page. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone are our God, and we, Israel, are called to your service.
We are witnesses and participants in God's covenant for justice and peace.
You do wonders without number, marvels that pass our understanding.
We are free from faltering. You help us survive our daily struggles.
You did wonders for us in the land of Egypt, miracles and marvels in the land of Pharaoh.
We are free to lift up the fallen and bring healing to those suffering in our midst.
When Moses, Miriam, and the people stood at the shore of Freedom's Sea, they sang this song to you with great joy.
מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה, ואלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. ילאי ללי, ילאי ללי, ילאי ללי ללי, ילאי ללי, ילאי ללי, ילאי ללי ללי, Adonai, הפורש סוכת שלום, עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, מעל ירושלים.
We have an honored guest here tonight. Rabbi Jeffrey Brown is here with us. And so I'm actually speaking to you right now because I don't know if this is done elsewhere, but it is done at Kolomi. When we sing Vishamru, even the plain old Rothbaum that everybody knows, something special happens. I'm not sure why it happens, but it will happen, so be prepared. Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
I thank the congregation for not making a liar out of me.
I don't think I've ever spun around while playing guitar.
Well, it's a new
with
thing.
a chord.
Next you'll be doing the windmills.
Yeah.
Anyway, please rise for the Amidah, and we turn to page 18.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, v'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. We continue silently through page 24, either standing or sitting. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. יאללה לה 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 la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la
At this time, we ask for those people who might be joining us on Zoom, Facebook, Vimeo, and YouTube. This would be a time that you can put names for the Misha Berach prayer in the chat, and we will read those names once we get there. We turn to page 25. Recently added to our Misha Berach list is David Amadeo, Margaret Craig Chrisman, Leslie Sacher, Robert Hertzberg, Amitai Aviv Ben Mira. Are there any other people who have names? Jay? Sheldon Clare. Brother Chris.
And
Oh, sorry. Judy Margolis.
and Chava Bat Bruria, and thank you.
And we also have from online Phyllis Cohen, Michael Solomon, and Barbara Zagel.
The words to the Misha Berach can be found on page 25. You may rise if it is your custom. Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Please be seated. I was going to do it from down there, but then you'd see how many pages I have. Not too many. So, also because I can see you all from here. Have you ever had a conversation where the other person says to you something so ridiculous, so mind-blowing, that your mind goes blank and you realize this conversation can go no further? And your instinct is just to walk away. It sounds like many of you have had that recently. While in the moment of pause, do you see on that person's face, or in their own words, an answer that looks like or sounds like, see, I'm right, you have no answer? And like I said, it's really possible that we've all been in that situation. One thing that I find missing in this week's Torah portion is how difficult it must have been for Moses every time he spoke to Pharaoh to know that God had hardened Pharaoh's heart. And thus, Pharaoh could never respond favorably to Moses' plea to let the people go. Now, if your heart is hardened by God, you don't have a chance to have it changed if you're the person whose heart is hardened. But when your heart is not hardened by God, but hardened by your experiences in life, is there an opportunity to change since there's no supernatural force controlling it? Has anybody here ever heard of Daryl Davis, blues musician? Anybody? No, good. I'm about to tell you about him. Daryl Davis is a blues musician. And he also has what some might call an interesting hobby. For the past 30 years, Davis, who's black, has spent time befriending members of the Ku Klux Klan. He says once the friendship blossoms, the Klansmen realize their hate just made me misguided. Since Davis started talking with these members of the Klan, he says over 200 have given up their robes. When that happens, he collects those robes and keeps them in his home as a reminder of the dent he has made in racism by simply sitting down and having dinner with people. So there's this story. He was playing music, and it was the first time at this particular bar called the Silver Dollar Lounge, and a white gentleman approached him and said, "I really enjoy your music." Well, he thanked him, shook the hand of the man. He said, and the man said to him, "You know, this is the first time I've ever heard a black man play piano like Jerry Lee Lewis." Well, Daryl Davis was kind of surprised that the guy didn't know the origin of that kind of music. And he said, "Well, where do you think Jerry Lee Lewis learned to play that kind of style?" And the man said, "I don't know. He learned it. He says, "I don't know." And so Davis replies, "He learned it in the same place I did. Black blues and boogie-woogie piano players. That's where rockabilly and rock and roll style came from." And the man said, "Oh, no. Jerry Lee Lewis invented it. I ain't heard," and this is him saying this, "I ain't ever heard no black man except you play like that." So Daryl Davis is thinking that this guy has never heard Fats Domino, Little Richard. And the man says to him, "You know, this is the first time I ever sat down and had a drink with a black man." Well, now Daryl's getting curious because he's trying to figure out how it is that in all his years on this earth, he has never sat down, that he himself had sat down literally with thousands and thousands of white people, had a meal, a beverage, a conversation. And this guy, who was like 15 to 20 years older than him at the time, never sat down with a black guy before he had a drink, he had this drink. So Davis asked him this question: how is that? Why? At first the man didn't understand. The first day the man didn't understand him. And the man had a friend sitting next to him, kind of nudging him and saying, tell him. Finally, that man says, "Well, I'm a member of the Ku Klux Klan." So what was his reaction on hearing this? He just burst out laughing because he really didn't believe him. He thought he was pulling his leg. He thought, as he was laughing, the man pulled out of his wallet, flipped through his credit cards and pictures, and produced his Klan card and handed it to Davis. Immediately, Davis stopped laughing. He recognized the logo, the Klan symbol, and he realized that this was for real. This guy wasn't joking. And now Davis is wondering, why am I sitting here with a Klansman? But the guy was very friendly. It was music that brought them together. And the man said to him, "Hey, the next time you're return to this bar with this band, I'll be here." The fact that a Klansman and a black person could sit down at the same table, enjoy the same music, that's what planted a seed in his mind, in Daryl Davis's mind. So what happens when you plant a seed? You nourish it. And this was the impetus for Daryl Davis to write a book. He decided to go around the country and sit down with Klan leaders and Klan members to find out, how can you hate me when you don't even know me? So what does he say to the Klansmen? Well, this can be a lesson to all of us who are unwilling to stay engaged in what we call a difficult conversation. Darrell says the best thing that you can do is be knowledgeable, to study up, know the subject better than who you're talking to, or know as much. He says, I went in armed, not with a weapon, but with knowledge. I knew as much about the clan, if not more, than many of the clan's people that I had interviewed. When they see that you know about their organization, their belief system, they respect you. Whether they like you or not, they respect the fact that you've done your homework. Just like any good salesman, you want a return visit, and they recognize that I'd done my homework, which allowed me, and this is in his words, to come back time and time again. He says, by doing this, it began to chip away at their ideology. When two enemies are talking, they're not fighting. It's when the talking ceases and the ground becomes fertile for violence, it's then that you get to be in trouble. If you spend 5 minutes with your worst enemy, it doesn't have to be about race. It could be about anything. You'll find something that you both have in common. As you build up these commonalities, you're forming a relationship. And as you build up that relationship, you're forming a friendship. That's what would happen. He says, I didn't convert anybody. They just saw the light and converted themselves. So what did the Klansmen think when he asked them why they hated him? This is what he reports. And this is kind of difficult, so I'm reading it, but it's not anything that I believe in. He reports, initially they feel that if you're not white, you're inferior. They believe that black people have smaller brains, that they're incapable of higher achievement, and he gives us an example and I'll read it right here. There was a guy, as he says, who was an exalted cyclops, which sounds like a monster, but is actually a high rank in the clan, sitting in the car in his passenger seat. And he'd made a statement that Davis had heard before. Well, we know that all black people have within them a gene that makes them violent. Now, Darrell turned to him while driving and said, wait a minute. I'm as black as anybody. As black as anybody you've ever seen. I've never done a carjacking or drive-by. How do you explain that? And the man didn't even pause to think about it. He said, your gene is latent. It hasn't come out yet. So how do you argue with somebody who's that far out in left field? Davis was dumbfounded. He was in that moment where you can't answer because every sense that you have has now been tortured in some way. He's just driving along, and the man's sitting over there all smug and secure, like, see, you have no response. So Davis thought for a minute. Let him have that moment. And then he used that man's point of reference against him and said, well, you know, all white people have a gene within them that makes them a serial killer. The man says, what do you mean? And Darrell said, well, name me 3 black serial killers. He thought about it, and he couldn't do it. Darrell said, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, John Wayne Gacy, all whites. So Darrell said to the man, son, you're a serial killer. He says, Darrell, I've never killed anybody. Davis says, your gene is latent. It hasn't come out yet. The man goes, well, that's stupid. Darrell replies, well, duh. Yes, but you know what? You're right. And this is his words. What I said was stupid, but not more stupid than what you said to me. Then he got very quiet and changed the subject. 5 months later, based on that conversation, that man left the Klan, and his robe was the first that Davis ever got. It's very difficult to have a hard conversation when you're bombarded by skewed facts, alternate truth, or just plain lies. It's very hard to take a moment and think. Your mind goes blank. And the first thing you think is, why am I engaging this person in conversation? They know nothing. They're idiots. And then you want to walk away from them. That's the most common reaction that one could have. But as Darrell Davis saw, that in that moment when he could not reply right away, the man thought that his silence meant the man had won the conversation. that he had, in modern parlance, owned him, not realizing that the pause was out of Davis's incredulity and not out of the fact that this man had won. And this is where, instead of walking away from the man's conversation, Davis took the time to engage a person who was talking nonsense, and with a quick turn, he had the man see that his own words were ridiculous when framed in a different light. So we learned from Daryl Davis that you can earn better results by doing your research into a subject, keeping your cool during a statement that you find ridiculous, and using that time of pause after being stunned by a remark to take the time to present a thoughtful answer. Do not let the "see you have no answer" pause and look that person might have in their face make you not to be able to continue to engage the person. Rather, use that time to continue to engage the person with thoughtful response. It's easy to walk away. And there's no guarantee, if you stay in there, that you can change a person's mind on the subject. But it is possible, as Daryl Davis found out, that you can change people's minds by continuing to be in dialogue with them in a knowledgeable, thoughtful, and kind way. Shabbat Shalom.
So now we have an opportunity to think about what wonderful things happened over the past week. Does anybody have something wonderful to share? Yes?
I started my first job post-grad school.
Your first job post-grad school. Mazal tov. You're teaching
Wow.
high school science. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Sherry? You're a great grandma. You're not old enough for that. Mazal tov.
In the back, somebody?
Yeah, over here.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh,
You
that's
hope
very
that
sweet.
all of our blessings are long-lasting. Thank you. And on that note...
Wait, there's somebody in
Oh.
the back.
One more.
One more.
Yes, Charlotte.
We have our adopted son visiting us this weekend from San Jose, California, on his way to New Zealand.
Wow.
Your adopted son is visiting from San Jose. Oh, grandson. I'm sorry. Your adopted grandson visiting from San Jose on his way to New Zealand. Nice. Okay, so we are going to sing a Shehecheanu to acknowledge all of these wonderful moments and all of the wonderful moments that all of us have had, each of us have had in this past week. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheanu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Amen.
At this time, we ask anybody who is joining us on Zoom, Facebook, Vimeo, and YouTube, if they have any names for the Kaddish list, this would be the time that you could put it in the chat and we will read them.
We rise for the Aleinu on page 64. Page 64. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotze breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo Echad. You may be seated.
We turn to page 68. And where did it go? Sure. But you have to read these two names too.
We have in our thoughts this evening those who died within the past 30 days, and if you hear your loved one's name mentioned, you may rise. Yolanda Montez, Dr. Gerald Rosenfeld, Caleb Dressen. We also have from our online community Debbie Fay. And the art sites observed this week are Miriam Adler, Ernest Anditch, Philip Answer, Irving Becker, Sandy Bickert, Clifford Bleich, Bessie Brill, Patricia Brook, Molly Butkow, Riva Chesson, Elizabeth Chesler, Betty Cohen, Morris Danzig, Norman Dritch, Betty Einhorn, Rochelle Eisenberg, Lila Elkins, Carl Ferguson, Abraham Friedman, James Gagner, Clara Gilbert, Olga Goldfield, Stephen Goldstein, Ella Gordon, Kenneth Greenfield, Leo Haas, Leon Hardman, David Brooks Howard, Sarah Hunt Walker, Barry Kalpin, Selma Kaplan, Esta Kessler, Celia Klein, Jack Clenson, Milton L. Kamensky, Elsie Kotler, Samuel R. Kozloff, Zita Loricella, Mildred Lyken, Irving Lipo, Blanche Lutenberg, William Levy, Philip Maisel, Larry Mann, Joseph Martin, Jeanette Moffett, Flora Moskowitz, Abe Meyerson, Joan Mykoff, Morris Podolsky, Louis Quater, Rebecca Rakita, Ralph Reynolds, Cecile Rhodes, Sherman Rich, Andrea Robbins, Fred Roberts, Isidore Rosenkrantz, Anita Rotman, Vivian Rothman, Noah Shalom, Irving Shire, Sarah Silverstein, Henry Simran, Gloria Small, Polly Stewart, Lisa Swaim, Eileen Teufel, Alan Tratner, Hugh Treadwell, Nathan Van Vliet, Walter Viner, Albert Wexler, Louis Weil, David Weiner, Max Weinman, Benjamin Weinman, Rose Weiss, and Aaron Weston. And we also recall Don Faber, whose memorial service was this morning. If there are other names that you would like to add that have not been mentioned, you may rise and mention those names at this time. Thank you.
Eddie Mines.
Thank you.
Very good. Esther Weinstein,
Thank you.
Bas Russell, Mizelato.
Thank you. We rise to support these mourners among us as we turn to page 68 for the Mourners Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. V'agala uvizman kariv v'imru.
Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam U'Lalmei Almaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudisha Brihu. Li'ela min kol berchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'ne'imata, damiran v'yalma v'yimru.
Amen.
Yehesh lama rabba min shamayim, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'murav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'yimru. Amen.
Ve'imru, 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 amen. Ve'imru, 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 amen. You may be seated, or you can stand up, either one. There's a tradition. You can be seated.
Or you could stand up.
There's a tradition that when you go home from synagogue on Friday night, 2 angels follow you home. A good angel and a bad angel, if you will. And if when you arrive home and the angels look in the window, they see that the laundry is strewn all over the living room and the table's not set and everything is a disaster, then the bad angel says, may next week be like this week. And the good angel has to say, amen. But if they look in the window and the table is set and the candle is lit and the laundry is out of sight in the bedroom somewhere and everything is perfect and ready for Shabbat, and the bad angel has to say, amen.
Amen.
So we turn to the page that didn't make it onto my sheet because they printed it.
77.
No, it's not 77. It's
not
94.
94.
Page 94.
77 in the old book.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Borechem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Please join us in the next room for a light bite. And
But first we're going to do Kiddush and Motzi.
Wait, that's right. We're going to do it here, not there. In the olden days,
But first the rabbi has to get the Kiddush cups.
I'm the schlepper.
You're the schlepper. I didn't write that on the sheet.
Oh, okay.
schlep.
No, it's okay. I'm so used to do it in an oneg room.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon Hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikroei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Now